Viking women have more rights than Anglo-Saxon women at the time? The short answer is no. This is another one of those things I see repeated on the internet a lot. But there is no evidence to support this, and what evidence we do have is a bit to the contrary. The majority consensus I have found is that, first of all, Anglo-Saxon women would have had a lot more rights than most of us would probably expect. We know that over 1,000 years ago, Anglo-Saxon women could, and often did, hold separate property from their husbands. Anglo-Saxon women could initiate divorce, and any children from the union would stay with their mother by default. If the father wanted to keep custody of his kids after divorce, he had to pay a huge sum of money to his ex-wife. Christianity was really good for early medieval women because not only do we get the revolutionary idea that women are people, we get monasticism. We have records of these Anglo-Saxon wealthy heiresses who would convert to Christianity and take their massive fortunes and set up an abbey. There were also several Anglo-Saxon queens who divorced their royal husbands on the grounds that they either wanted to establish or join abbeys. And it wasn't like they were cloistered away necessarily. There would often have been a lot of interaction between the abbey and the outside world. A lot of these early medieval abbeys were double houses, so you have a men's side and a woman's side, monks and nuns, both under the authority of an abbess. So by becoming an abbess, an Anglo-Saxon woman could not only keep total control of her land, her property, her body, without a man telling her what to do, but she could also tell men what to do. Abbesses had authority over the monks in their abbeys. I know that 21st century Americans are horny little freaks. We love to make everything about sex. A lot of us have a hard time believing that people even could be celibate and abstinent for life, much less that they would want to be. But these were not 21st century Americans. It does appear that most people who took those religious vows meant them and kept them. Ordinary women could also join convents. And for a very long time, that was a way for a woman to get an education in art, science, literature, and medicine. At a time when most people would not have had access to that level of education, whether they were a man or a woman. Viking women did not have anything like abbeys available to them until centuries later. Whether or not Viking women could hold separate property or initiate divorce is a topic that requires a bit more nuance. It could be different based on the specific part of the Viking world we are discussing. The Norse diaspora, which we typically call the Vikings, settled in a lot of places and had a lot of cultural variations in those places. The Anglo-Saxons converted to Christianity first, which means they not only got access to monasticism first, but they also got access to written records. Ergo, we have a lot more information about the Anglo-Saxons in the early medieval period than we do about the pre-Christian Scandinavians. One big limitation we have in studying both Anglo-Saxon and Viking women is that the vast majority of the records we have pertain to the ruling class. So oftentimes records will be biased toward affluent people whose experiences may or may not have lined up with the experience of the average person. So best case scenario, Viking and Anglo-Saxon women had roughly the same level of rights and autonomy within their respective cultures. However, from what we are able to piece together at this time, it does look like women in Anglo-Saxon Britain would have been better off overall. If you want to learn more about Viking women, I recommend The Valkyrie's Loom by Michelle Hare-Smith. If you want to learn more about Anglo-Saxon women, I recommend Women of Power in Anglo-Saxon England by Annie Whitehead. For Bokala!